What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 6 of DPF on Tap. I have Dugan with me. We have John Kruk and we have Mike with us from their own location. So today we're going to be talking about a recap of the past two series, going into the Indians, Brewers, and kind of talking about, then we'll look ahead to the Orioles Series. We have the Odumbass of the week, Phillies Make Me Drink, and we're going to do a Letterman-style top 10. John's also going to bring us a minor leaguer of the week. So getting right into it, I am not going to mince words today. I am fucking pissed off. I feel like this has just been a fucking disgrace of a fucking two series. I mean, I'm going to throw out some numbers just so you can kind of understand. 31 men left on base in the last 5 games. 2 shutouts. 2 times were 2 hit. Our number 1 and number 2 hitter are hitting 169 and 234 over the last 15 games. Nick Castellanos is hitting 115 over the same last 15 games. Our 2 lowest on-base percentage guys are at the top of the fucking lineup. Like, in our whole... even like the terrible guys or who we think are doing terrible, everyone else has a better on-base percentage than them too. They're not table setters, they're rally killers. They're up 3 to 4 times, and you know that Turner's going to do this. He's going to go 1 for 4, and he's going to be like chamomile tea. You don't really know he's there. It's kind of like, you know, he'll make the catches he's supposed to make, but he's not doing what he's supposed to do. I'm kind of like sick of his antics, and most of all, I'm sick of, you know, the ability of the manager. His one job is to motivate and to make the lineup. So I grabbed this quote, and I think it's a Buddhist quote, maybe, earthing and grounding. Change is painful. Only the resistance to change is, you know, as equally as painful. It's terrible. Like, at what point are we going to? Is he going to change the lineup? It's disgusting. It's terrible. I'm fucking sick of looking at the same horse shit day in and day out. No one on the team looks like they give a shit. Like, I see us talking between our text messages. There's more passion in one of our little fingers than the entire fucking roster. I don't see anyone being pissed off about a strikeout, a flyout, not moving the runner over. It's a non-fucking... They don't care. And that 100% comes from, you know, the manager's motivation and whoever the leader on the team is, because I don't fucking know who the leader is. I guess it's supposed to be Bryce Harper, but, you know, leading by example is one thing, but I think you have to get in someone's face and say something. I'm sick of it. I can't imagine that, you know, the Phillies even have a remote chance to win today because their heads are so far up their asses that it's fucking disgusting. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Go on, Chris.
I agree with everything you said. I am bringing that same what the fuck passion today. The one thing I'll do is I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate with you as far as the lineup goes. And as much as a baseball purist as I consider myself to be and an old school baseball guy, and Schwarber batting leadoff makes absolutely no fucking sense to me, he does draw a ton of walks. He does get on a base a lot, and that's something that other guys in this lineup really aren't doing. As good as Stott has been hitting the ball, he's relying on getting base hits. That's the way he gets on base. He's only got 19 or 20 walks where Schwarber has over 60. The other problem, though, the problem with Schwarber getting on base so often is he clogs the fucking bases. He can't run. So then that limits even some of when Turner does do something, he's limited by Schwarber being in front of him on the bases, and it takes away one of the qualities that Turner's supposed to bring, which is speed. Can't go first to third, can't go second to home because Schwarber, you know, is Barney Rubbling it around the bases. So that, you know, I think there's positive and negatives. I mean, the way this offense works, if Schwarber doesn't come out in the first inning and hit a leadoff home run, this offense is dormant. It is fucking dormant. They do not score. How many times this week have we looked up in the third inning and we're down 3-0 and we don't have a hit? If Schwarber doesn't set that tone right in the first inning, the offense is dead, and it's every game, and it's hard to watch. That being said, our pitching's been pretty good when you look at the overall line, but giving up runs early every game totally changes the dynamic of the offense. Now they're all, there's pressing because we're losing 3-0. An offense that already struggles to score is now pressing to score. So I think we need to be better. It'd be nice to play from in front once. Come out and fucking score early and often. Stop having 1 inning a game where you put up a crooked number and you die for the other 7 or 8 innings. It's frustrating. I mean, like you said, Chris, all these runners left on base. In the series against the Brewers, 3 for 21 with runners in scoring positions. That's a 143 batting average.
That can't be bad luck, right?
It's just bad.
That has
it's
to
a
be
bad
bad
approach. It's bad approach. They struck out 30 times in the Brewers series. That is 37% of the outs made in that series were by strikeout. So picture this: 37% of the times, Craig Counsell could have walked out and told all his fielders to walk off the fucking field, and they could have played a glorified game of catch, and there was no fear that someone was going to get a hit. Fucking Turner, the last 2 games against Cleveland, bases loaded. To me, when you're up runners in scoring position, the key batter in that situation is the guy who's batting with 1 out. He needs to put the ball in play to make something happen. You can't put all the pressure on the next guy with 2 outs because we know baseball's a game of failure. The next guy isn't guaranteed to get a hit. That 1 out guy just put the fucking ball in play last night and we take a 1-run lead. And then the defense. 4 errors in the series against the Brewers. The Cleveland series, we haven't made any errors yet, but in the first game, in the first inning, short hop ball that Turner should have made a play on, he laid that shit. It ended up costing us runs. Then last night, the fucking Bermuda Circle out in left field or right center, like Brandon Marsh. I like the guy, I really do, but he is not a fucking center fielder. He does not command the outfield. You want a fucking ball hog in center field. Too many times this year we've seen balls drop between him and Schwarber in left center. Balls drop between him and infielders. You want a center fielder that's just mine. I got it. Pitchers need that. They need that guy out there. And he's just not that guy. He'd be a nice corner outfielder, but I put Rojas out there. That kid would have caught that ball behind his back and the inning would have been over.
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated with this team, especially coming off that series with the Padres where we won 3 of 4, and it looked like the team was really going to start, taking off. And we had games against teams that, the Brewers that were fighting for a wild card spot for it. It looked like we were going to take off, but it's just so frustrating to watch. Mike, what do you got?
So you guys have said a lot, and I can feel the passion in your voice. I'm coming to you, Chris Dugan. You can appreciate this from Veterans Park and softball tournament where my niece Grace just got a bases loaded 1-out single to drive in 2 runs, and that's what we need. You just talked about it, right? I'm gonna give just a little bit of an out for the guys. I found out yesterday, I did not know this, that most of the team was ill this week, especially that weird at bat by Harper. He had 101 fever that game. Not an excuse, but maybe something that, could be a reason why that they've been a little bit lackadaisical in these 2 series. And we called it out last week. To your point, we won 3 out of 4 against a really good Padres team. And we said we hope we don't play down to these 2 teams that are really struggling. And so far we have. And
Mike, do you think Mike, not to interrupt you, but do you think we've had 101 fever all season? Because this runner in scoring position thing isn't new, man. It isn't new.
No, not at all. I just didn't know that and wanted to throw it out there in case anybody else hadn't heard that. And then I guess the only other thing is we're very critical of our ace, Aaron, and so thus far he had a pretty good game against the Brewers, and we really need him today to go back to back with good games. And you guys know that doesn't typically happen to salvage a win here in Cleveland. So, John, over to you.
Can we not keep being down 3-0 and having to come back all these times in these damn games? And you could give. I didn't see last night's game, so I was at a concert. I apologize. But these series, we should not be losing to the Brewers or the Indians like this. These are inferior teams to us. you can give your base you can give these base runners tons and they still put in place and have one. It's just everything's just boggling my mind. And almost after a good game last time, so I can't even complain about it. I hope he pitches another good one this week. I mean today, but trying to figure out. I'll be back, guys. I can't really hear you guys. Hold on.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on to kind of the next topic. It sounds like we're having some technical difficulties on some people's end. So what we're going to move into now, while John kind of leaves and comes back, is just what are we expecting today, and what are we expecting against the Orioles? I just want some passion at this point. You know, I would even take a loss, which I hate, if it looks like someone's out there, going at it. And Mike, if they are sick, then I get it. I wonder, if you're sick, then maybe you shouldn't fucking play. If you're not 100%, I don't know. I'd rather have Johan Rojas out there at 100% than someone who's 90%. And that's more of, Marsh. I'm not talking about Harper. I like Harper at 10% probably. But I think, I've watched enough Orioles games with the MLB TV package. This team hits the ball. I don't feel like they're a team that is to be trifled with. I think they either have the most wins or close to the most wins. They're hot, they're young, and they're hungry. And the Phillies are none of those three.
Yeah, I mean, today we got, Nola going, pitched a great game. Last week against the Brewers, 7 1/3 of only 2 earned runs. But we've seen that with Nola before. 1 great game, 3 games. So I'm hoping we get good Nola today. It looks like the Indians are going with a bullpen game. But the guy's got a 2.86 ERA. Who knows how long he goes. It's probably a 1 or 2 inning type thing.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
What the fuck's his name?
Oh, I got it written down.
It's
Hold
like
on.
XZY.
Yeah.
There's
Where the hell did I write it down?
every letter in the alphabet, kind of like my last name.
Yeah. I wrote it down. I don't know. I don't remember where I put it.
Xavier?
Yeah, Xanion or something like
Yeah.
that his name is. But he's got like a 2.360 or 8.6 ERA. So, but he'll probably only be out there for a couple innings. So this is the type of game that Nola needs to go out there, pitch his game, and the offense needs to put the ball in play and score some runs. Score some runs early.
Jump on this dude.
And the Orioles, like you said, young team. You've seen them kind of coming for the past couple years. They've drafted well, a lot of homegrown talent on this team. They rebuilt it the proper way. The Phillies definitely did not. The Phillies went out and spent all the money to bring high-paid guys in, where the Orioles are low payroll, and now they're just adding pieces.
Well, how about Ruben last night blowing the Indians?
Yeah.
Like basically
But if you look at their staff, look at their staff. Homegrown staff, and those guys are good. I mean, that kid last night pitched really well. But when I kind of looked into both teams, to see the matchup, the Orioles are the first place team in the AL East. And we were all kind of down on the Phillies when we played Tampa a few weeks ago. The Phillies went into Tampa and swept them. But when you look at the two teams, I mean, the Orioles team ERA, 4.20. The Phillies team ERA, 4.06. WHIP for Orioles, 1.3. Phillies, 1.24. These teams are almost identical. Batting average, Phillies are 252 or 256. Orioles 252. On base, 319 versus 321. OPS, 741, 739. These teams are the same team. They're the same team statistically. I think the difference is, like you said, these young guys are hungry. They want to win. And they come up with the clutch hits. So averages are what they are. When you get those hits is just as important as getting those hits. That's a good point. So if the Phillies play like they're capable of playing, do I expect them to? Not after the last couple of games. I don't. I'm hoping to get 1 win out of that Orioles series.
Yeah. So I want to ask you and Mike a question as you're kind of going through your Orioles. Does the lineup change, and if so, what do you want it to be?
I almost think you have to drop Turner at this point. For the reasons I spoke about Schwarber earlier, being an on-base guy and being that spark plug for the offense, I'd leave him at leadoff. But I think I'd move Bohm up to 2. I want Harper back in the 3 spot. He's a 3 hitter. I don't want him in the 4 spot. He's a 3 hitter. I'd probably bat Castellanos 4, Stott 5.
That's the toughest spot for. We don't have a home runner.
No, we don't.
We don't have a.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Schwarber, but if you can
as
do
much as I hate to
4.
say it, this team misses Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah.
I mean, they really do. They really miss that right-handed power bat in the middle of that lineup. I mean, he was consistent. You pencil him down for 30 and 100, or 90 RBIs every year. Mike, what do you got?
So this team is 60-38 that we're playing in the next series, the Orioles. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and 1 game up on Tampa Bay. So to you guys' point, they've got a lot of skin in this series. They need to win the series too to stay ahead of Tampa Bay. Really think that we need better starting pitching and combine it with the offense that this offense is built for. And to answer, Chris, your question, I like Stott in the 2-hole because of a reason. One of the reasons that Dugan said earlier, he doesn't walk a lot, and this Schwarber thing seems to work for a spark plug now and again. But I like him in the 2-hole. And to your point, also, like who is the one that drives in, our home run hitter, and I guess that's Castellanos for now. So Bohm in the 5. Harper in the 3, obviously. So today, I think you hit on it already. We need Nola to be as good or better as he was the other night against the Brewers, and get us through at least 7 innings, so that and the offense to wake up. So that's what I got for the next series.
All right, John, welcome back. I'm gonna go to some comments now, and I'm just gonna kind of people. On Facebook, we'll allow people to kind of we hope they'll kind of ask questions, and we'll just toss it around a little bit between the guys. I'll kind of moderate a little bit here. So my wife Renee asked, and more our daughter Avery, wanted to know if we're going to be drinking beer on the podcast since it's at 10 a.m. Absolutely not. We would not do that. It's much too early to have a cocktail or a beverage. I guess some people can have mimosas. These are just props. There's apple juice inside, and we just shook them up to show the foam. So absolutely not. So Ben R is asking, should he become an athletics fan? So Mike, what do you think about that? Like
an A's fan? It seems to be that we get a lot of their players to play on our team. So if you're looking for an American League team, that might not be a bad option.
Yeah, I mean, it could be their last year as the Athletics too. So what a great time. If you were going to be an Athletics fan, though, Ben, it might have been better in 1929 or so. But or 72 through 75.
Dave Stewart and not Dave Stewart.
So, John, Wayne is asking us, when will Topper switch his lineup? When do you think, and if he will, he's going to switch the lineup? Is John with us?
I think he dropped.
No, he dropped off. Okay, so I'll ask you.
I'll take that one. He'll probably switch it today just to piss us off by starting Josh Harrison. So that'll be the switch. Harrison will be in for Stott for some unknown reason, or
that's
the switch. That's the only switch he'll make.
So one quick observation there, if you don't mind, Chris. Do you remember last year we made a switch at the manager position, and it sparked us to go all the way to almost winning the World Series, coming 2 games shy. So, I think he needs to remember that, and to maybe, use the spark himself before he's the spark.
Okay. So the last comment before we go to the next segment, Drew wants, Stott at second, Rojas in center, Harper batting third at first, Bohm third base, Schwarber, DH Turner, Nicky, JT, and Martian left as the starting lineup. I don't hate it. I don't understand why you bring up this fucking Rojas guy and then not play him.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, to me, that doesn't make great sense at all.
And I don't like JT in the 5-hole anymore. It's just not not the RBI guy you need right now.
No.
He's too inconsistent, strikes out too much, double play machine.
Lack of confidence, lack of approach.
He's just got to get dropped. I'd like a better contact hitter, either Stott or Bowman, batting fifth.
Yeah, so the next segment we're going to do in honor of Nola pitching today is we're going to do a top 10 Nola excuses segment like Letterman, counting it from 10 up to 1. And we're just going to kind of go around the room and back to Mike, and wherever we land at 1 is going to be number 1. I don't know what one that's going to be. I have a personal favorite of the ones I saw, so if I get to that, I'm going to use it if it wasn't already used before, even if I didn't write that one. And I'll tell everyone who wrote it. So, top 10 excuses why Aaron Nola didn't pitch well, as a big excuse guy. So, number 10. His mind was on the extinction of the Javan rhinos. So they're, one of the extinct species, and he was just thinking about that, so he couldn't pitch well. So, Chris, and then we'll go to Mike.
All right, I'm going number 9. His wife's jambalaya made him constipated.
All right.
Number 8, the AC was on in Marlins Stadium.
That'll do it. Number 7. While earthing at Citizens Bank Park, the Kentucky bluegrass tickled his feet and gave him the itchies.
Are we at 6?
Yeah.
Number 6. His parents always loved Austin Moore.
That'll do it.
Number 5. Being good every start is hard, man.
That's true.
That is true. Number 4. The pitch comm is interfering with his gamma brainwaves.
Number 3. He once took his shirt off at Mardi Gras and he didn't get any beats.
That'll do it.
That's disappointing.
That'll do it.
Number 2.
That'll affect me.
Sorry, number 2. The bidet only sprays water at room temperature.
I get it. We all get that. And then number 1, we don't have the drum roll or I guess Paul Schaefer over in the corner in the DPF garage, but number 1 is Mercury's in retrograde. So thanks for everyone putting on that top 10 list. It was fun to kind of like go back and forth, and we saw these before, and it just it made me roar. And
can I throw one extra one in that I had?
Yeah.
I should have used it.
Yeah.
His fingers were greasy from his pregame po' boy sandwich.
Po' boys are greasy. Po' boys are greasy. That is funny. So now we're going to go and do the Odumbass of the week. So we're going to turn it over to Mike.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to paint a picture for you guys here, right? So there's a woman from the United States. She waits her whole life and saves up to go on a trip to Australia. She decides that she's going to pack a gold-plated .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun in her bag to go on this trip. So if you don't know anything about Australian gun laws, they're very strict. And so now she's facing 10 years behind bars for trying to bring her weapon with her over to Australia. So just think about that for a quick second. Saving for your entire life to go on a big trip to Australia, you're super excited, and now you're in prison and facing up to 10 years in life, or 10 years in prison in Australia. And so that is my Odumbass of the week.
Oh my goodness, what a dumbass. I'm going to go back to some more comments. We appreciate everyone listening and watching, so I want to make sure that I'm giving you your props from being on here, so just give me a second here. So, Michael makes a point here of we have to claw back every game, right? Chris kind of mentioned this. Every game we have to claw back, and it's like it would be nice to be ahead because there's nothing illegal about scoring first.
No,
it's
not, it's not
perfectly okay to be able to do that. So Scott Ass was asking if, I don't know, when you're at the game and you said, Mike, someone was able to get a hit with like runners in scoring position. Is she available? Is there any interest? The Phils have, is there a scout there?
So I'll ask her. They do have an 11 o'clock, but she could possibly be, in Baltimore maybe, here coming up in the next couple days. So.
Yep. So Sean is, this team's the same as last year. Great on paper, but, it's an inconsistent team. That's their consistency, is they're inconsistent. They make the playoffs and we see what happens. That was fun last year.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But I think that kind of goes back to what we're saying, Chris. We were talking earlier before we came on. Like, if you look at this team's record since the end of May, their winning percentage is pretty good. I mean, they made up a lot of ground. Went from a below 500 team to above 500, but it wasn't like an impressive. It wasn't an impressive run where they were scoring a ton of runs every game or dominating pitching every game. They were finding a way to win games, but they haven't put it all together. Like, I think the talent for this team is there, but the consistency of putting it all together isn't.
Yeah, and winning should be fun, and even like the wins, they weren't terribly fun.
No.
Honestly,
they blow their load in one inning every game, and then you hold on with the bullpen that they're going to close it out. But they have played well. We have to give them a little bit of credit for winning, a lot of games in the last 2 months. But how many games did they piss away that they should have won? They've lost a lot of more winnable games.
They tried to piss away the first Brewers game, and they're lucky they didn't get their ass swept there.
Yeah.
All right, Garrett Xavion, I guess, or Xavion. Thank you for that. We knew it was like an XZY, one of those things. Let's see if we have anything else, if there's any questions in here. So here's my cousin from the Pacific Northwest. I didn't read this yet, but I want to kind of see what he has to say. Let me bring it up on the screen. Or if I can't. Turner's swing is much too long for the type of hitter we want to be. Long and looping. Not really something that will bottle and spray the ball around. When was the last time he hit a chopper somewhere? Is this a failure in the hitting coach to make an adjustment? Or is it stubbornness by the players? This is the same trend that got his team no hit in October. Mike, what do you think? This is a great question.
Yeah, so I think it's an approach that's led by the hitting coach and the manager. These guys, they talk about when they're going well, how good Long is and how he helps them to improve and excel. And so we hear crickets when they're doing things like Turner's doing this season long slump, the slumpty dance we were talking about the other day. So I think it's a coaching piece, and it's also kind of to Dugan's point earlier, we haven't moved specifically Turner down in the lineup. When you do that, you see different types of pitching, and then you may get some better contact and more improved confidence, and then maybe we can put him back in the 2-hole. So that's my thoughts there.
Yep. No, great points. So I guess the next segment we kind of want to talk about is trade talks, and Chris, where do you think this is going to go? And it's always the last minute. Really, nothing's happened except for big, I guess, Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
And that's
it'll come down to the wire. It always does. I know we talked a lot about the need for the Phillies to add a right-handed bat, and I would like to see them get a few more games of Harper at first base before the deadline. I mean, he looked great the other night. I mean, he made every play, made that great catch, caught the dive on the line drive, handled everything well over there. So if he shows that he can play first base competently, we can confidently go out and get an outfielder to play left field, preferably a right-handed hitter. Some of the names that I hear connected to the Phillies are Tommy Pham, Marcana, Randall Grisick, Teoscar Hernandez, Hunter Renfroe. These are guys, right-handed bats, a couple guys with some pop. Hernandez, 16 home runs. Renfroe is 15, but they're 240 hitters. Grishik's a 299 hitter right now this year, but only 5 home runs and 23 RBIs in Colorado. And Pham and Canna are Mets, so fuck them. We don't want them right off the bat.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to change my thinking and go for a left-handed hitter in this spot. And here's my thinking. The guy I'm looking at is Cody Bellinger. I think he's an outfielder, can play all 3 outfield positions, and he can play first base. So if Harper needs a day to DH, you can put Bellinger at first base. If Harper's playing first base, you put Bellinger in the outfield, you DH Schwarber. I mean, right now, Cody Bellinger's hitting .319 with 13 home runs and 41 RBIs. There's not too many lineups in baseball that can't use a guy like that, who has the versatility to play all 3 outfield positions and first base. So I'm willing to change my thinking of a right-handed hitter and just go out and get who I think might be the best guy available for them in Cody Bellinger. And then when you look at pitching, it's the same names we've been mentioning for the past couple weeks. Jordan Montgomery, Jack Flaherty, Lance Lynn, Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito, and Marcus Stroman are guys that are out there that could be linked to the Phillies. In my opinion, I'm kind of happy with our starting pitching. Like, I don't see a real need, especially when you get to the playoffs. You're really only going to go with 4 starters anyway. That 5th starter position becomes kind of your opener if you use one, or your middle, your long guy if you need them. So I would focus more on the bullpen. And the White Sox have a couple guys that are available, Joe Kelly and Kendrick Graveman, that I think could come in, have experience, closer experience, have playoff experience, hard-throwing righties, that once we get Alvarado and Sir Anthony back, really fit in nicely with the back end of that bullpen. So those were 2 guys. And, I mean, now if you can land a Stroman, do it. I mean, obviously you do that. Those other guys, I don't know if they're any better than what we currently have here. So
who would you not give up? Who's untouchable? And Mike, when you're talking about this, I want to kind of understand, like,
from
there's
the current
a lot
roster,
of from current roster and from minor leagues, because we're gonna have to give someone up to get these guys. It's not just money getting sent across.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I've always taken the approach that a prospect is just that, a prospect, and I would trade a prospect for a proven guy that I know can help me today, rather than banking on a guy helping me 2-3 years down the line, because you never know. Especially pitchers, they can get hurt and be done, and you had the opportunity to get them. I mean, the Phillies could have had Roy Halladay a year or 2 earlier if they were willing to part with Don Brown. I mean, so like a prospect is just a prospect.
Would you trade Abel for Lance Lynn, a 20-year-old?
I don't know about that. No, I don't know about it, because I don't think Lance Lynn's all that good. I don't think that he's. I mean, his ERA I think now is over 6. I know he's pitched well recently. But I don't think I'd give up that for him. Now, Stroman, younger guy who's, pitching well, the ERA is slightly above 3 on a bad Cubs team. Maybe I do that, but none of these guys I think are worth a big time prospect that we have. Now, you start throwing out crazy names, Ohtani and this and that.
Right.
I'd trade the whole fucking farm system for a guy like that, as long as you're getting an extension. But to me, I think you go bullpen right now. I think our starters are good.
Yeah.
Add a bat, add a bullpen, and start playing better baseball, and none of this shit will matter.
Yeah, I think like the Bellinger thing, I'm not sure about him. Maybe like if he brings some of that good electric lettuce with him, and the guys will just kind of chill out and just like get to. I mean, if our right fielder, our center fielder, and our second baseman were any more chilled the fuck out yesterday, it would be ridiculous.
That's true.
But it is interesting that he has that flexibility, and maybe it's like when you're drafting, you go after the best player available. And they have holes in a bunch of spots defensively. If Bellinger comes in, who plays center then? Or are you doing like Marsh against righties and Johan against lefties? Like, what do you do there?
I think if Bellinger's coming in, I want Marsh to play every day. I think Marsh should play every day. But I like Rojas. So Rojas, I think in that situation would just become like a defensive replacement type guy. I mean, I don't know if he's going to hit enough to really be even in a straight platoon. But defensive
we want Marsh
replacement
to play, but like he can't play center field.
Yeah, Bellinger can play center field.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's any worse.
Maybe Marsh and left.
Yeah,
Marsh and
I
left,
mean, I think it gives you options. Yeah, I think it gives you options. with Bellinger.
Mike, what are you thinking as far as trade talks, targets,
Yeah.
possibilities, and
I honestly, I'm really tired. I'm glad, Chris Dugan, you didn't talk about the Otani and Soto thing till the very end. I'm tired of hearing of that. I do think that if that comes with an extension, either of those two, and we would try and make that happen with as many prospects as possible, but I don't think that's likely. What I really think, and I'm going to disagree a little bit with you, Dugan, is that an impactful starting pitcher, I think, is a must. We talk all the time about how Nola and Wheeler are inconsistent. Our best pitcher basically has been Walker this year, and that's scary. And we also said before the All-Star break, when Sanchez had a couple of good starts, we wanted to see a couple of more good starts after the break, and we have not seen that. So all those names you talked about, Chris, are in play. We've talked about them. And honestly, the best player available who's hot right now is Bellinger. Now, I know I'm not naive enough to think that he can't go, cold and go into the slumpy dance too, like they do, like players do. So maybe at a reduced rate or a reduced impact to the farm system and our current roster. I would definitely reach out for Bellinger. But who's not touchable to me currently? I would have said Painter before the injury. I don't know if I guess there's enough upside that there's still value there for trade bait, but I've seen McGarry pitch a little bit this year on that MLB app, like you were talking about earlier, Chris, and I don't know. I'd probably say I don't think with the right proven player that there's anybody that's untouchable besides Harper. That's just my feelings.
okay. Yeah, I've been incredibly tough on the number 5 starter, Sanchez, and if you look at his numbers, he's been great. But there's another thing I kind of want to point out. So 4-game win streak, it ends. 4-game win streak, it ends. 4-game win streak, it ends. 3 times in a row, 4-game win streaks, and it stops at Sanchez. There's just, his numbers are okay. We're going by ERA, and he gets 5 or 6 innings pitched. And a lot of people are like, well, what does the 5 starter matter? Like, they don't even pitch in the playoffs. You don't get to the playoffs right now if your 5 starter isn't good. So I really think that they need an upgrade there. I think Sanchez is a nice kind of long relief guy possibly, or, if one of our guys get into trouble, he's a good guy that can kind of bring in. But he's also, another left-hander. Alvarado has been hurt a few times and unreliable. And as far as that, I think left-handers out of the bullpen, it's nice to have. Ranger Suarez, I'm worried about him with Bellinger because if that dude fucking chills out anymore, he's not going to have a fucking pulse. And that last game where he, tried to play Cliff Lee, Joe Cool, he kind of just shit the bed a little bit, right? So it was it was not good. I think that someone I'm still a Joe Kelly fan. I think he brings fire that we don't see on the team. Other than Alvarado, when he strikes someone out, even if he's losing by a couple runs or just gave up a home run. But I still appreciate that. The untouchables, I think it's, to me, it's probably only Harper. But if there was a team that would say, let's just take the White Sox, for instance, Luis Robert, Dylan Cease, Giolito, Joe Kelly, they have an abundance of these people that we want. And maybe we have to give up something to get those, and that's Abel, McGarry, kind of Orion Kerkering, any of these kind of pitchers or younger people. I would do it. And I would also, my number one trade person that I would be offering is Kyle Schwarber. He's a problem here. His pluses are not as good as his minuses. He can't play he can't play the field anymore. He just can't. He shouldn't. He can't. It's like, when you break glass in case of emergency, that's the only time he should be playing. As far as hitting, I don't know. Like, I don't really want him to be a one guy. I think, at best, he's your four guy. He's going to strike out 200 times and he'll hit 30, 40 home runs. That's what you want there. I think, as an overview, who do I want? I want another starting pitcher, even though that's been a strength. And I want another reliever because I think relievers in the playoffs are so important. As far as the right-handed or left-handed thing, I don't know. I just think this whole left-handed, lefties can't hit lefties is bullshit. Why can righties hit righties? Why is that a fucking problem? I don't know. But that's kind of just my 2 cents as far as, what the trade talks are going to be. I want it done sooner than later because, July 31st feels like, I don't know, a month away. And I want, kind of some changes to happen. And hopefully we'll see it in the lineup today. But I'm not hopeful. I'm going to go to some... Oh, did it? What do we got?
Lineup. We got Schwarber at DH, Turner at shortstop, Harper at first, Castellanos in our 4-hole in right field, Stott at second in the 5-hole, Real Muto at 6, Bohm at third in the 7, Marsh in center field at the 8, and Cave in left in the 9-hole.
Well, it's good to see they're using Rojas, and it's the same bullshit they're running out there. So this is going to make...
At least they made the change. Harper up to 3. JT drops out of 5, although I think I would have mixed and JT to 7.
Yeah,
I think that would have been the change I made. But they got JT out of 5 and pushed Harper to 3. It's baby steps, exactly.
Baby steps. All right, so we're going to kind of go to some questions and answers from the comments. So Michael Bello, he wants, JD Martinez. Would love to add him. Todd Benner said, nickname for Guardians starting pitcher today should be Human Eye Chart, which is super hilarious. What's the third line? ZYA. Drew wants Cody and Marcus Stroman and, a star-laden package, and I think those two would be absolute obvious game changers. Proven players. And Brian, again, someone who wants Stroman. Drew was asking if we'd take Brad Hand back. As what? I don't know.
He's another guy last year. If you look at his ERA, it looked like he had a pretty solid season, but his inherited runners scored last year. Every time he came in with a run on base, they were scoring. And that's kind of the conversation we were having about this Andrew Vasquez for the Phillies. Now that, herky-jerky lefty, if you look at his ERA, you go, wow, this guy's pitching great. Mm-hmm. But 45% of the runners that are inherited score when he comes in.
Yep.
I mean, so, when you're looking at a reliever's ERA, it's kind of a misleading story.
Yep.
You got to look at the whole picture, and if you got to be able to come in and shut things down when runners are on base.
Yeah. And then Ed saying, an example of a prospect, and we said it, Sixto Sanchez, Kyle Drabek.
Perfect.
They didn't do anything. They're not going to do anything, and I'm not, Abel McGarry is, total, we don't know.
Hey, Chris, really quick before you go to the next one.
Yeah.
Just a comment on whoever said JD Martinez. So, having lived in the Boston area, that guy has a reputation of being a leader in the clubhouse. So that may fix 2 issues that we were talking about: the actual play on the field and the leadership in the clubhouse.
Can he play the field, Mike?
He played first a lot in Boston when he didn't DH, but
okay.
not consistently. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So there was a few.
If he puts his glove on the right hand, he can be better than Schwarber, though.
Schwarber's been our best fielder the last couple of years. Had that catch, over the fence catch. He made
that catch last night look so much harder than it needed to be.
Yeah, I mean that's true. So Josh has asked, and I'm going to flip this to Chris, and then there's another one that I'll give to Mike. Has Brandon Marsh found his ceiling, particularly defensively? Should Rojas be getting more playing time even when a lefty isn't pitching?
It depends on what they do. I mean, I think Marsh is a good defensive player. Not great, good. But like I said, I don't think he's a leader, like that captain of an outfield type guy. So I think he would be a really nice corner outfielder. Rojas is obviously, he's the best defensive outfielder we have on the team right now. And that'll continue until Pache comes back. And then the two of them would probably hold the mantle of being the best defensive outfielder.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Rojas out there if we don't end up making a trade and we can get Harper at first and DH Schwarber more often. I would play Rojas in center and Marsh in left every day. At this point, though, I would not be afraid to put Rojas in every game as a defensive replacement that we're winning by a run or two late in the game because he's an automatic upgrade over whoever you take out.
Either in center and left.
Either center or left. But I like Marsh to a fault, I guess.
And then we'll send this question to Mike. So Ashley, who's one of the DPF admins, is asking if Bryce Harper continues to hurl himself over the walls to make catches at first base, what brand adult diaper should I buy? And Mike, we're not asking you this because you're older than us, but you know you're older than us.
You shop in that aisle.
Obviously, the answer, Ashley, is the Walgreens brand. It's actually always the answer in certain situations. But I wonder if she has a bug on my iPad because we'll be talking about that dive into the camera well here in a couple of seconds for my what makes me drink.
That's a great segue, and take it away. So we're going to move right into Phil's Make Me Drink segment.
So sounds good. Ashley, this one's for you. So we've had our best player, one of the best right fielders in the game, DHing for over a year and a half now because he had an injury. And then he just got back enough. He's well enough to play first base right now. And then literally in the very first game that he's playing first base, he decides that he has to dive into a camera well and smash his arm on the bar that goes, into the stands. He still is made of flesh and bone, guys. And so while I love the passion, there has got to be some sort of governor where he says, I'm going to do a lot of things, but I'm not going to dive into the stands because I have to be on the field to lead this team. And that's literally what made me drink, on top of all of the other things that we talked about today in this two series that we've not done well in currently. So over to you, Chris.
So the Phils Make Me Drink, one of the things, and I'm kind of glad that we're able to do this Sunday morning thing, because I want to say fuck you, Scott Rowland. He's getting inducted today, and people are like, he had a great, seasons here and all of that. Fuck you, Scott Rowland. You never wanted to be here. You were never one of us. I don't give a shit. And you know what? If you would have even remotely not said stupid shit like, St. Louis is baseball heaven, you'd be forever one of ours. We don't want you. I hope they don't retire your fucking number here. And not showing up when they're retiring other Phillies people because you had some bullshit excuse, fuck you. He makes me drink, and I hate, that the fact that, why do you hate him? He was such, a great player here. He's underappreciated. I'm not appreciating someone that doesn't appreciate us. He doesn't appreciate our passion. He never got it, and that's okay because St. Louis is a great place for him. And so is Cincinnati. They're both, loser organizations that aren't very good, weren't very good, and he can go in as a Cardinal and kiss my ass. Fuck you.
That's going to be tough to follow, but I'm gonna try. So the Phillies make me drink, and I am going to ask a simple question: when the fuck did Phillies fans become so soft and so accepting of failure? Because I am getting tired of posting on the page about Turner and Realmuto and Castellanos and hearing it's early. a guy's entitled to a down year. They're going to bounce back. They're going to do this. Turner's last year's Castellanos. Guess what? I don't want fucking last year's Castellanos. I want last year's Trey Turner. I want the last 5 years Trey Turner when he hit 298 and he was a fucking MVP candidate every year. I want 80 fucking percent of that guy. Because if we were getting 80 fucking percent of that Trey Turner, we'd have 5, 6, 7 more wins than we do right now. He's been an offensive. I mean, his at bats are wash, rinse, repeat. It's a fucking foul ball. It's a fastball high that he swings through or fouls back, and a slider in the dirt, strike 3. Every fucking at bat is the same at bat. Hey, Rob Ranfried, you want to speed up the game? Start Trey Turner's count 0-2. You save yourself 2 pitches in 30 seconds because every at bat he's 0-2 in the fucking count. Then we're gonna go to my other guy, JT Realmuto. How fucking lazy has he become as a defensive catcher? He doesn't block shit anymore. With runners on base, he's got that lazy backhand, the one-leg bullshit. Cost us a run the other night in Cleveland because he tried to fucking backhand a ball that if he just squares himself up, lets it hit him in the chest, that run doesn't score. We lost by 1 fucking run that game.
And people are running on him like a motherfucker.
Running like a motherfucker. He doesn't hit. Now, I mean, granted, you get a catcher who's up 30, 31 years old, you start to see the decline in their performance. And I understand that. He catches way more games than most other catchers in the league. So he is going to wear down. But that doesn't mean that the fundamentals of playing the position have to wear down. Blocking a pitch, whether it's the first game of the season or the 90th game of the season, is the same fundamental. Get in front of the goddamn ball and block the pitch. Your pitchers are out there and they rely on you. They need to have confidence that they can bounce one up there to get a guy to chase, and you're going to be back there to make the play. If you're trying to olay shit and backhand shit and letting base runners run all over the place, it's not like he's hitting 400 and fucking with 50 home runs. You're back there. A catching position is defensive. That's a defensive position first. Play defense, JT. The best catcher in baseball, you haven't been for the last 3 fucking years.
Yep.
And that's, and I'm sorry, he's cute, ladies. I know everybody loves him. But I want him to play better. I know he can play better. I know he's a better defensive catcher than he's shown. And Turner is a better baseball player than he's shown. And we should not accept it just because Castellanos had a bad year last year and had a better year this year, that Turner is going to do the same thing. We should not accept it as fans.
Yeah.
The guy was an MVP candidate the last 5 years. Only one on the team this year. That's embarrassing.
All right, so we're a little heated up.
And fuck Scott Rowland too, just for measure.
I'm gonna final thoughts. Go to Mike first, and then Chris, I'll go to you, and I'll kind of close it out.
Yeah, I think we need to salvage one game today in Cleveland and go with a little momentum into the series with Baltimore because they're a hot, young, hungry team like you outlined earlier, Chris, and we need the Stars to start to play like stars. And, I can't wait till the deadline gets here. We got, another 8 days because then we'll know what we have for the rest of the year. And, we'll stop the speculation and then let's just take care of business, win series, stay in the hunt to get into the playoffs, and then we'll see what happens. So over to you guys.
The Phillies have this new celebration when they get a hit. The old Major League showing some marbles. Show some fucking marbles, Phillies. Stop doing it unless you're going to fucking show it. Show some fucking marbles. You're too goddamn good to be playing this badly.
Yeah.
Wake the fuck up.
That's awesome. You can see that the passion between the three of us here, and John had some technicals, so he had to hop out. We're tired of losing. We're tired of underwhelming play. I think it's time to step up. One of the things that I would say, and this is a message, not that he'll ever listen to it or care about this, but there is one person that's leading the baseball in at bats. And if anyone needed a day off, it's this dude. Sit Trey Turner's ass down. Sit him for a couple days if needs be. Let him think about it. I'm sure he's trying hard and I'm sure he's playing hard. But, maybe just give him a couple days rest. I think it's important. He can't go out there every day and keep doing the same shit. Just let him relax. And then again, appreciate everyone tuning in, watching or listening now or later. And I just want to say, fuck Joe Carter, fuck the Mets, and fuck you, Scott Rowland. Keep the Phillies name out of your mouth today. I don't want to hear it in your speech. You can blow St. Louis and you can blow Cincinnati, but fuck you. Kiss my ass. All right, thank you. That's DPF on tap. We'll see you next week on episode 7.
Cheers.